So here's
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's November 13th.
He's a good-looking guy.
Super excited about this big show. Episode number 50 going on right now on FishTalk Live.
Purplish with yellow.
November 13th, 2019.
OB.
We got a super great show for y'all. Tonight, Ron's going to be talking about nitrates.
He's about
how you can kind of keep those under control. What's happening? How do we get such high nitrates? So anyway, it's going to be a great show. And again, we are celebrating the 50th episode of Fish Talk Live tonight. So we've got a couple of special things going on. This is going to be a great show. Now, normally we do 100 viewers. We go straight to a fish. But since it's the 50th show, Ron has agreed to do that on 50. So it's super important that you share this out right now. Share it right now. Share it out in your favorite fish groups on Facebook. Share it out on your personal page.
That jewel is
see if we can get all those viewers on, and we'll just jump right to it. All right.
Kawanga.
I'll do my shares real quick.
That's a Julie. It's at Lake Tanganyika.
It's time to get this party started.
Rusty.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
You see Matt's
No, I didn't see anything. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Fish Talk Live. This is live on Wednesday tonight. We are episode number 50. Who can believe it's been a year? A lot of awesome episodes. Ron has talked to us about a whole bunch of different kinds of stuff. Someone was trying to get my attention, so let me double check something real quick before I tell you guys what we're all about. Let's see. Okay. It's all good. So anyway, this is the 50th episode of Fish Talk Live. I mean, we should all be super excited. We've got veterans on here that have seen every single show. And we love our loyal viewers. So if this is your first time on Fish Talk Live, let me tell you what we're all about. So we are a gamified multi-stream show. It shows up on Twitch and on YouTube, LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, and it's also on Periscope. And we're a gamified show, so we have a lot of interaction. We have a live chat bot you can interact with on the live chat and things like that. So it's a super awesome show. We talk about some of the hottest topics in tropical fish keeping. Every week, you guys have heard me say this now 50 times, but every week I get to introduce to you the host of the show. So the host of the show, Mr. Ron Demers, he's from West Palm Beach, Florida, right there in Royal Palm, Florida, actually. And he is a tropical African cichlid breeder. He loves his fish. So first and foremost, he is an aquarist and a professional aquarist at that with 26 years. I think I've been saying 26 for about a year now. So let's go ahead and pop that up. 27 years as an aquarist. He absolutely loves cichlids. He absolutely loves African cichlids. He loves breeding them. He's got an amazing setup. The way he does his whole farm and his whole setup is just absolutely amazing. He's also the guy who is behind the Ron Cichlid fish food. And if you see my my Mbuna tank in the back there, those are all being fed off of Ron cichlid food. So he's that guy. You know, we might mention a little bit later, but, you know, all this hype and people doing publicity stunts about food and stuff. Ron's is the one. Ron is the man. Trust me on that. We'll see how that pans out. He's also not only just a good friend of mine. I love talking with him. We always see eye to eye, and not eye to eye, but we're always like finishing each other's sentences. And now I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's kind of cool when you're working with someone in business and you say, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh my gosh, dude, I was just typing that right now. Anyway, without further ado, here he is, Mr. Ron Demers. What is going on, Ron? How are you? Let me unmute you. Sorry.
Here.
There you go. What's cool about the new setup, the way I have it set up, Ron, is that when you're muted, I don't hear you, so I know you're muted. So there we go.
Still can't believe it's been 50 episodes in a full year we've been doing this.
Oh, my gosh, man.
A lot of hard work and time, both of us. You, me, and even the moderators help out a lot, feeding questions and doing the shares and putting this out. And it's a team effort. Absolutely. And it's humbling to me that I've been able to reach so many people in the last year. And, I'm by no means an expert, but I've helped a lot of people, and those people have gone forward and helped a lot more people. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, I know you're a humble guy too, so that's where I'm no expert, but you certainly are an expert. I mean, you can't be doing this for 27 years. You can't be feeding fish day after day for 27 years and not learn something, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually pull that card out unless I really have to, but
exactly.
I mean, I've figured out how to create a successful business off of breeding and raising African cichlids. So I guess I kind of know something.
Yeah. So we're just playing on, if those one or two haters are out there that are listening, we're just playing on them, What I've always been amazed is like someone does a water test and then they become an expert, right? So they're like, speaking of water tests, so we're doing nitrates tonight, which is kind of cool. So I appreciate you dropping that one in there, Ron.
I figured we dig into it a little deeper. I mean, it's always something that people, kind of get overly anxious about, and they're going to learn something tonight.
Yeah. So can you give us some shout outs? I don't have it up in front of me right now. So
I've got Robert Jones, Kevin Phoenix, Jason Wagner, Matt Gin and Whiskey, James Smith, two of our moderators, also Mindy Pulse, an amazing moderator of ours as well. Chris Johnson, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
And my boy Rob Clear.
So let me say right now, we have hit 50. Okay.
There we go. Hit 50. We're giving a free fish.
So
away.
Right now, type in pound spin to win. It's 3 words. Spin 4 letters, 2 letters, win 3 letters. So do that because we're gonna give away a large fish for that. I didn't mean to interrupt you though, but I just got the message from James Smith, and I am super excited about the 50th episode, dude. It's so awesome.
I'm typing in too because I'm going to win this one.
Yeah, you are. I might do it too. Can I do it too?
Sure, why not?
I don't have a tank or anything to put the fish in, but you'd still send it to me, wouldn't you? How long they live in the bag for, Ron?
I'm going to have a really big bag, and you're going to have to do water changes. You're going to have to watch your nitrates in there too.
Yeah, I'd have to be changing the water like every hour. So anyway, congratulations, everybody. We hit the 50, and Ron is going to bless somebody here soon with that free giveaway. Remember, you do have to stick out and be here. So when we do announce that name, as long as you're here and you say, yes, I'm here, then we're going to go ahead and you will be the winner. So pay attention. Not sure exactly when that's going to fall in or not. Hey, just like any good board meeting, like we're all coming together, sharing our experience, strengths, and hopes about fish keeping and all that. There's old news, good news. Let me run through some of those things that I haven't said too much in the last few episodes, but Ron Cichlids is Ron's business. You can find him at shop.roncichlids.com, or you can go to roncichlids.com and enter in through the front end. I'm the guy that created the website. We love the website. It's a really cool little fun thing. So if you've never seen Ron's website, go check it out. Play with the fish on the top banner. Do all that kind of cool stuff. Ron is also on Twitter. You can find him at Ron_Demers9 on Twitter. He's also on Instagram. That would be at Rons_Cichlids. So we built these groups as well. He's got 8 Facebook groups. all with their own niche, but there's one main one. That one main one is called Ron's Cichlid Clubhouse. You can find information right now in the chat. I'm sure the mods are lighting that up with those different groups. And I'm gonna play a little thing here, a little bit about those groups. But anyway, so I want to stop as okay. So you all know, I created the show FishTalk Live. I think it's an awesome show. Been put out this information. Ron and I are partners in that, in the sense that he's the host and all that. But I want to take the time as the director and creator of the show to say you've done an awesome job, Ron. Seriously, awesome job. It's not an easy thing to get in front of a camera, in front of people that are, looking for you to slip up or say one wrong thing or whatever. And you've just done an awesome job. It's if any of you know with video, it's hard to just start talking. Just
to nobody, basically. You're talking to an invisible audience, and to keep the morale and the robustness and act like you are talking to a real person, it takes a while, and it is uncomfortable. But at some point it becomes so second nature, you don't even realize it anymore. So
congratulations, bro. You are officially in the YouTuber, influencer kind of mini celeb as far as that goes in the fish keeping hobby. I know
no autographs.
There's no pictures, no autographs. There's going to be a ton of people that are just going to take that and run with it, because there's, the thing is we started this show with the whole idea of how can we get the whole fish keeping hobby in together on a really cool show where we can have a good reach and do all this stuff. And we talked about this a couple months ago. We're just totally flabbergasted about how all the other influencers are those, I don't want to say cool kids, but you know what I mean? The people that are kind of doing stuff in the group all the time, just we're like,
this was always about one. Yes, this was always about one thing, and this was always about sharing knowledge, helping others. And anybody I think that truly knows who I am, knows that's me. That's, I don't know why. Call me weird, call me crazy, call me whatever. I don't care. I try to go out of my way to help others. I used to not be that way. I used to be a little more self-closed. But I know a lot in this hobby, and there's no reason for me to keep all that knowledge to myself.
Originally we planned on, trying to see how many people we could get involved and do all this kind of stuff. But rather than going that direction, surprisingly enough to me, people would rather, resent you for it. Like, wow. But anyway, we're here. Our viewers are super awesome that made this happen over the last 50 episodes. I can let you guys know that over those 50 episodes, those episodes have been watched 160,000 times, which is really good. It's super awesome. So thank you, everybody. There's still things that can be done. You can still like the Fish Talk Live page. You can go to YouTube and subscribe to Ron's channel there. Different things there. So I'm pulling up the chat myself so I can see what's going on. We're at 56. I probably dropped off a few of those people. I probably said something. All right, here we go. Hopefully it's not going to spit the sound out. Cool. All right, I'm just going to look. I kind of wanted to do some shout-outs, too. So Kevin Phoenix and Joe Venker are there. Kevin Phoenix is saying you're really down-to-earth and a good-hearted person, Ron. Absolutely agree with you, Kevin.
Kevin's one of those lucky few that have actually get to come over and meet me in person. So.
Yeah. Craig Heater's got a comment on there. Robert Cox, facts, something to someone else. But anyway, super stoked, man. I'm really excited about this. For one, the bandwidth, there's no issues with bandwidth right now. We get a little bit of delay in our video conference software, but that's just part of it. But
you only had to drive west 3,000 miles to get better service.
So we looked at, you can see over my shoulder, you see here drop frames 121. Well, how many total frames were there? Well, there was over 26,000 frames so far, so that's not bad at all. Yeah. Rob Clear here says I was about to beat a man in another page over his comments about Rand's food. Right on, Rob. Way to stick it in there. Yeah, you know what? Speaking of food and speaking of this kind of craze right now, which is like, let's put the battle of the foods, man. Let's do this whole thing. You know, it is so hard to, even in a scientific setting, to control that experiment. Like water changes, same species, come from the same fish, same tank, you know, all this different stuff that
too many variables.
Yeah, too many variables. I'm gonna wish like the one person I know, Fred. The other people, you know, whatever, you do what you want to do. But as far as Fred's experiment, I know that Fred has other people like Craig Heater and stuff. Like, wish all you guys that are involved in in Fred's deal the best of luck. I hope it works out. I hope you get good results. One thing I would like though, and Fred's gonna be on next week, by the way. Fred's coming on Fish Talk Live. We're going to talk to him about it and all that. But one thing I would like, and hopefully he'll promise us next week, is that if Ron Cichlids' food wins, that he'll stop selling Northfin and sell Ron Cichlids' food. But anyway, that's just me. Yeah, I mean, I like your approach to it, Ron, where you're like, heck yeah. Like, why wouldn't I want my food up there?
Go ahead.
You know?
I don't care. It's I know where my food stands. I know where my customers stand on my food, and I don't really care, honestly, what the results are, because
well, you
really matter.
You do. Don't. I know you're playing a little hardball right now, but check this out. Here's the thing about Ron Cichlids, and we kind of had this discussion with a couple of other of our team members, is that, you know, okay, so 27 years has been breeding him, and this is his livelihood, is to sell good, healthy fish. You would think that would be kind of the person you'd kind of go to kind of understand what good and healthy traditions are. Anyway, so best of luck to those guys out there. The other ones, the ones in Oklahoma and things like that, whatever. Keep doing what you do. Let's see here. I would like to show the promo. So I'm not going to have a little human interest video. Facebook got really mad, so they're upping their little AI thing. Making it harder for me to find content to put on there, so I'm not going to do that. But here's the episode promo. Today, Ron's going to be talking about how to deal with your nitrates, what you need to know. It's going to be short and sweet. I mean, it's not a big, huge topic. We'll talk a little bit about water quality and how to test and all those different things. So that's what we got going on today. You ready to do this?
I'm ready, my friend.
All right. Did I skip anything? Like I had, what do you call it? Like an energy drink.
Just a haircut.
Can you tell? I do. I need a haircut. I can't afford it anymore. I live in California now. Yeah. But, no, yeah. Awesome.
All right. If y'all are ready, let's talk about nitrates.
Let's talk about nitrates.
We're going to discuss, where do nitrates come from? We're going to discuss, the desired levels that you want to keep them at. We're going to discuss the potential dangers of excess nitrate levels. And we're also going to discuss how to reduce nitrates, which is probably going to be one of the bigger sections that we're going to discuss. So first and foremost is, where do nitrates come from? Most of you probably already know nitrates are a byproduct of the nitrate process, the nitrogen cycle process. It's the latter stage of the nitrogen cycle after nitrite, and it's going to be present to some degree in basically all aquariums. Unless you have a special anoxic filter, then you're going to have some nitrates. In the aquarium, nitrates are produced mainly through, a breakdown of animal proteins, ammonia breakdown from the nitrogen cycle, detritus, decaying plants, decaying fish, dirty filters. If you're not doing your filter maintenance on a regular schedule, you can start building up your nitrates. Overfeeding is a big one, and overstocking is a big one. For African cichlids, we tend to overfeed and we tend to overstock. Fish always act hungry, and as most of you know, Africans prefer to be overstocked for aggression regions. So those all contribute to an increased production of nitrates. The significance of nitrates is, in the aquarium is not widely understood by most fish keepers. They're more concentrating their efforts on checking for ammonia and nitrites. Under most circumstances, those two readings are going to be zero, and most people don't check for nitrates. And although nitrates aren't directly lethal to the fish the way ammonia and nitrites are, over time, high levels of nitrate have a negative effect on fish, plants, invertebrates, and just the tank in general. Especially for us breeders, it's very important for us to keep our nitrate levels in check. Nitrate can get used up rather quickly in a natural environment, a lake, a stream, a natural ecosystem. Nitrate is critical for the growth of plants, trees, anything plant-based that lives near the shores or in the water. Nitrate is usually consumed and kept to a very, very minimal level in a natural ecosystem. But in fish tanks, mainly due to the fact that it's a recirculating closed loop system where you have a filter that just recycles the water over and over again, you can get an elevated level of nitrates. And we as humans have to intervene for our fish friends and take matters into our own hands. So even though the ammonias and nitrates, which are toxic, are converted into less toxic substances like nitrate, accumulation of these biological byproducts such as nitrate can pose an issue if left unchecked or not regulated.
So let me ask you. So let me not ask you, but do a quick recap. So that we've done all this in other shows, and I did learn a few things. So the ammonia, the nitrogen cycle, we're talking about nitrates is at the very end of that cycle. We've got the ammonia that first builds up from the waste of both food and fish and all of that. And there's a certain bacteria that will break that ammonia down as it consumes it. Think of it as it's consuming and then puts waste out. And its waste is the nitrite. Both of those are extremely dangerous at high levels in a short time. And then we're talking about another type of bacteria comes and eats or processes nitrite and converts it into nitrate. Now, this happens both in the water, right, and also in soil as well. And it's essential for life on Earth. Like we wouldn't have life on Earth if we didn't have that whole nitrogen
Absolutely
cycle and all of that. So, we've talked about this before too, Ron, and I'm sure you've seen it a lot in the last 27 years. People get really stressed out about these spikes because, 80 parts per million is pretty red. Your test tube is pretty red,
Yep.
And it's red and it's like danger, danger, and it's screaming danger. And yeah, I'm gonna let you finish here, but it's high and it's not good. It can stunt growth, things like
Well,
that.
the only positive coming from that is people are testing their waters and they know that they have an issue, which is good. In all honesty, I don't test my water anymore. A aquarist that's been doing this a while and has a regimen and learns how to be a fish whisperer, so to speak, and look at their tanks.
Yeah.
We don't need to test our water anymore. You guys are going to see a little video in a little while that I did a water test, and it's the first one I've done in a long time. Luckily, it's kind of embedded in my brain. But these days, most people don't check their water unless they think something's wrong, and usually their water is fine. It's usually something else. So,
or if the cycle breaks or things like that, you're adding new fish, and you want to know if the bioload is handling the new fish. Those types of things. Yeah.
And nitrate's the first thing that you're really going to want to see when you do set up a new tank. That tells you, hey, I'm getting through, or I'm gotten through my first part of, my first two steps of my nitrogen cycle.
Mhm.
So it's a good sign, if you're waiting for a tank to cycle. Let's talk about the desired levels, which is probably something everybody's curious about. Reliable nitrate readings can, be easily and quickly tested with a quality test kit. Me personally, I like the API Master Test Kit. They also have a nitrate test kit. You can buy any of the test kits separate, or you can buy them as a master. I think the master test kit's $30, does everything. In nature, in natural ecosystems, nitrates remain, very, very low, like well below 5 parts per million. In freshwater aquariums, because it's like a closed loop system, like we talked about, nitrates should be kept below 80 parts per million. I know 80 parts per million is red, but if you are on a normal maintenance schedule with your tank, you should never see 80 parts per million anyway. Um, Preferably try to keep it below 30 parts per million. If you're breeding fish, or you're having an algae bloom or an algae problem, try to keep the nitrates even lower, somewhere around the 10 to 15 parts per million, because algae is a plant basically, and it feeds off of nitrate. We talked about this 2 episodes ago when we talked about algae, about keeping your nitrate levels and your phosphate levels in check, because that's just fertilizer for the plants.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about like levels. So here's the thing: is that your levels, and with this particular aspect of the fish keeping hobby, African cichlids, where this particular kind of fish thrives when you overpopulate, or when your stocking levels are really high. You're going to have naturally more nitrates when you have that much more fish in your tank. So, I could never. So I had a couple different tanks. So I could never get it down below 20. And I tried, and so I played that roller coaster like second guess game. Like, I better buy phosphate bags and all these different kind of nitrate bags, and I was like, oh, this don't work. It works for 2 days. Yeah, it drops down to 15, for 2 days, and then goes right back. But I was the same way, Ron. I just knew that if I got rid of 65, there was a certain level of the intake on that.
Mm-hmm.
If I dropped that down, I did that twice a week. And I was okay with that. Like,
I remember when you went from weekly water changes to twice a week water changes.
Yeah.
And when you switched to that, I remember that you started having happier fish, healthier fish. They grew faster.
Yeah.
Their colors were popping. I remember when you went through that.
Yeah. And here's the thing: is that I stopped testing at that point. I certainly, here's the thing for you beginners, is that it's fun to learn about fish keeping. That's part of the hobby, is like you keeping this ecosystem alive, like the temperature's right, and the water clarity, and the food, and all of that. But you'll find that there's certain things that, yes, if it regimented, 8.6 pH and all of those things, but you'll find that with these particularly farm-raised fish that are being sold, that most people are getting farm-raised fish, they're very, very, very adaptable. And that means that they're going to be okay at 7.5.
They're hardier.
pH. Yeah. And they're going to be okay with living with a bit of nitrates, as long as you're not poisoning them. And here's the thing: is that and if you pay attention to Ron and these last 50 episodes, your fish are going to tell you if they're healthy or not.
Yep.
You're going to see if they're healthy or not. And yeah, so thanks for saying that, as far as that learning curve that I kind of bounced over. When I started doing 2 days a week.
Once you don't need to test water anymore, and you can just look at your fish.
Lights on. Sorry.
Then once you get to that point where you can just read your fish, so to speak, as a fish whisperer, and it may take a year or two, or it may take more. once you get to that step, you'll understand more what your fish's needs are. I, I cannot change the water in a tank, and a tank will tell me when it's time. Like outside, I am heavily stocked. I mean, I may have 400 to 600 fish in a 275-gallon tote. And the first sign for me is the water will start turning, slightly yellow. That tells me, hey, it's time to do a water change. Um, Fish keeping doesn't have to be about all science. It can be about just old school, the way they used to do it. You look at the fish, are they happy or not? There was no fancy equipment 30, 40, 50 years ago when they started doing this. Hell, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, this is no different than, aquaculture for any other fish that are, being used for consumption.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And keep in mind too, when we talk about this, I heard you say this before, but I for some reason I feel like there's some people that haven't seen the show on tonight, and I'm talking a lot with my hands, all right. But anyway, so keep in mind too that different fish species handle nitrates differently.
Yes.
For the most part, most of the fish that we deal with in the hobby are really hardy, but there are some fish that are extremely delicate and
Yes.
are way more sensitive to these types of things in the water.
Yeah, like discus.
Discus, trophius.
That's for an advanced fish keeper usually. Why? They require a higher level of water cleanliness than other fish. So some fish are definitely more sensitive than others.
Yeah.
So this part we're going to discuss, the potential dangers of excess nitrate levels. This isn't a scare tactic. This isn't to get you guys freaked out. It's just information to tell you what potentially could happen if the nitrate levels get out of whack. We've all been told many times, and I preach it as well, that nitrate, excuse me, are harmless. And to a certain degree, that is a correct statement. A lot of fish can tolerate, as Dave just said, they can tolerate a higher level. Some can even tolerate up to 500 parts per million briefly. We're never going to see that in most home aquariums. But if you have chronic exposure, it can indeed be damaging to the fish, even at much lower levels of exposure. So over time, at let's just say 50 parts per million, nitrate can negatively impact, fish development and invertebrates as well. So if you're like a fish breeder or something and you are in the business to grow fish, such as I am, then yes, you need to keep your nitrates low, which we're going to go into a little more in a minute. You can also notice, lethargy, poor color, usually a poor immune system, and they're not as active when it comes time to eat. Most people don't even think about nitrate with that, but it can have something to do with it. It's called nitrate poisoning. Like I said, not to freak you guys out, but just be aware of it. Some of the effects on fish that you may see is, fish will feel the impact of nitrates when you start getting around 80 to 100 parts per million, if the levels remain there for some time. If you're one of those people that don't change your filters very much and only do a water change every 2 months, yes, your fish can feel the effects of that. It's too much of a high level can cause stress. It can stunt growth. I know that for a fact. It's been proven to damage organs and make them much more stressed and susceptible to disease, and lowers their immune system. Also, from a breeder standpoint, higher nitrate levels, fish don't reproduce as much. That's why groundwater farms are so successful in breeding fish, farm raised fish, is there is 100% new water in the tank every single day. So the nitrates never get to build up. High nitrate is very harmful to fry and young fish and with their growth. If we start losing some fry, out of the tanks out here a little more than normal, makes me wonder what's going on with test the water and we'll do a water change. Usually it's not nitrates, but that's the first thing I check. If I have 30 or 40 fry in a tank and I lose 3 or 4 for a couple days, which is normal sometimes just on genetics. That's the first thing I check is nitrates, actually. Um, and as we spoke about a couple episodes ago, and we're going to touch on again tonight, is algae with nitrates. So if you have a higher elevated nitrate level, it's significantly going to contribute to algae growth, whether you want it or not. Um, uh, Even nitrate levels as low as 10 parts per million are going to promote algae growth. It's going to be a fertilizer for them, especially algae blooms. Basically, the number one cause for algae blooms is nitrate. Little bit of light and some excess nitrates in a new tank going through its cycle, boom, you got green water. We've talked about that before as well. Even the water that you use to refill into your tank when you do a water change often has nitrates in it. Amazing fact that I looked up earlier today is in the U.S., a lot of drinking water may have nitrates as high as 40 parts per million. So I've been through this with people before where they constantly have high nitrates or constantly have high ammonia, and they're doing lots of water changes, but it won't go down. And I ask them, have you tested your tap water? And the answer is always no. And the people that do test their tap water realize that they're getting it from their tap. So if you've got 40 parts per million in your tank and you do a water change with 40 parts per million from the tap, water change is almost pointless if you're using that source. So before you add the water to your tank, test your tap water. If they're above 10 parts per million, you may want to consider running it through a reverse osmosis or deionization exchange resin, some type of filter, that would hook to your sink to help pull that out, or look into a different water source.
I'm sorry, Ron. I'm spacing out on your morai. Those albinos in the back. They're so cool. Riding the wave maker.
Mesmerizing.
Yeah, man. I miss it. I miss just chilling and tripping out on fish and stuff. It's cool. But your guys is in the back, so we've got a chance. All of us here as viewers on Fish Talk Live have a chance to see that growth over time. So just like in this last 4 months that I've been noticing the tank, or what? Has it been 4 months?
Yeah, because you guys have seen them since they were little. They've been there. They've been in there since April.
Yeah, that's when I came. You had just set it. You just set it up when I came and saw them.
These guys are getting big. The males are about 6 inches. I just pulled an extra male out last week, and one of my customers got them.
Yeah. So I'm hearing from you though that there are repercussions for high nitrates, and yes, you do want to be aware of it, and it can stunt, particularly in younger fish. But it's not something to totally freak out about. It's just get it under control. And tell us a little bit, Ron, about how we can control nitrates. Are we at that point? I don't have it in front of me. Okay, good.
This is going to be the biggest section, and this is what most of the information we usually give out when somebody asks this question. Unlike ammonia and nitrate, the bacteria that removes nitrates do not like oxygen-rich environments. They're anaerobic. They like to be in a very low to no oxygen environment. Back when I used to be a saltwater reef keeper, you could, and I know they have more advanced ones now, you would have a denitrate tower, and it would run 5 gallons per hour. That's how slow you had to run this to remove nitrates, and we're all used to 500, 600, 700, 1,000 gallons per hour. You had to run 5 gallons per hour through this, or it wouldn't work. So, conventional filters do not harbor the bacteria that we need to remove nitrates. It's typically special filters that exist that will remove nitrates. They're usually very expensive. One of our great members and a very close friend of mine, Kevin Shannon, he built some anoxic filters this year. You can check out the DIY page, and it's something people can do themselves. And eventually, he went from weekly water changes to once every 3 weeks, and his nitrate levels are still zero. He just does water changes because the fish like it, but his his nitrate is zero every single day. Pretty amazing um, setup, and it's easy to make. Um, First and foremost, you need to keep the tank clean. What does that mean? Well, waste, usually produces nitrates. It's probably one of the biggest contributing factors. So the cleaner the tank, the fewer the nitrates. So do more gravel siphons, get in there, filter maintenance. I know a canister can run 6 months or longer before it needs to be cleaned, but all that waste that's being collected in there is still in the water system. So maybe clean them every 3 months. If you've got a high nitrate problem and you're constantly battling with it, clean your filters more often. I've looked at the studies over and over and over again, and keeping your filters clean was one of the biggest contributors on a day-to-day basis, keeping your nitrates, consistent or lower. Something a lot of us do. I wish I had a video of me feeding the fish earlier. I'm just handfuls of food. Don't overfeed your fish. There is no magic number on how much you should feed them. Anybody who tells you you need to feed them 1 tablespoon or 1 teaspoon, listen, it's apples versus oranges. Learn how to feed your fish. How much is too much? Overfeeding them is a significant contributor to excess, nitrates and wastes in the tank, and even phosphate. Biggest deal is water changes. Water changes. Oh, by the way, water changes. When you perform regular water changes with water that has little or no nitrate in it, this is the most preferred method for all fish keepers to keep your nitrate levels low. It's instant, and it permanently removes them from the system. And it's this simple. If you want to change 50% of your nitrates in the water, you do a 50% water change. It's that simple. If you're at 80 parts per million and you do a 50% water change, you're at 40 parts per million. That simple. So if you want to catch up with it and you want to get ahead of it, do a water change, a big water change. I do 80-90% water changes when I do water changes. So if you got, let's say, 80 parts per million and you're freaking out because it's red, do an 80% water change. What are you going to get when you're all done? If you started at 80 parts per million, you're going to end up with around 15 or 16 parts per million. It's going to take a lot longer to get to 80 parts per million now that you did that massive water change. So as soon as you get back on the regimen of once a week water changes, you can stay ahead of it. But if you're doing 30% water changes a week and you've got a high nitrate level, you're never going to get ahead of it. You're just going to keep at a certain level. If you want to get ahead of it and keep it low, do a couple big water changes, get ahead of it, and then start your maintenance, once a week or so. And the fish can handle it. Most of the fish that all of us keep can handle 80% water changes. Just make sure the water temperature and pH are pretty similar. For those of you who like live plants will utilize nitrates and keep them in check. These can be live plants in your tank. It can be pothos on the outside of your tanks, above your tanks, in your sump, stuff like that. It's becoming really popular. There's one young lady who posts in our group all the time. I forgot her name, and I apologize.
Is it Athena?
I don't think so. It may be
Okay.
Alethea. Just literally a jungle. She has those tanks in the fish room. That's a jungle. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks like you're at a zoo. Millions of freaking plants
It's
everywhere.
So cool.
It's so breathtakingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you right now what her nitrates are. Goose egg.
Yeah.
Beautiful setups. I mean, and you could tell that is a fine balance of the fish and everything else she does. So I apologize if you're watching the show. Shout out your name and remind me. But beautiful tanks. And then last but not least, there are things on the market like you were talking about. There are chemicals. There's some good products on the market that reduce nitrates. They do not remove. They do not remove enough of the nitrates to be worth your money.
Or at least not long enough. They will do it.
They will,
but it comes right back.
Couple days later, you get it right back. And they may remove a few to 5, maybe even 10 parts per million, but you just spent $8 or $10 for something, and it lasted 3 days. I mean, start doing the math. Water changes are so much cheaper. If you have the money and you just have it to blow, sure, go out and buy those products. Two of the best products out there are, Seachem D-nitrate. We all know Seachem makes great products. And another great company is Nitrazorb. Somewhere along the line, somebody gave me a whole bunch of stuff, and I regifted a lot of it. And I ended up with some Nitrazorb. They come in these little pleated pads, and I throw them in the sump just to use them. I don't know anybody I can give them to. Same thing with carbon and other stuff. A lot of people give me stuff, and I try to give it, to somebody else because I don't use it. But they do make chemicals. If you want to try it, go ahead. They even make bacteria cultures that you can add to your tank that will reduce nitrate. But as I explained, you are not in an anaerobic situation, so the new bacteria that you just added to control your nitrate will quickly die. And once again, you're back to square one, where you may have just spent $10, $15, $20 on a product that has no lasting effect. Nitrate is very, very, very important in saltwater tanks. A lot of these products that you see on the market for D-nitrate are because of saltwater reef aquariums. You can't have nitrate in there. It will wreck a reef tank. So a lot of these products are designed around saltwater keepers, reef keepers, people with corals and stuff like that. That's my show.
Awesome.
We talked about, what are nitrates? Where do they come from? What levels do we want? The dangers. I said, I'm not trying to freak you guys out, but I want you to understand that don't get complacent. Nitrates can be harmful if left unchecked. And then, last but not least, we discussed the best ways to reduce nitrates. Until they come out with some magical cheap elixir, snake medicine, snake oil, whatever that we don't know about, water changes are going to be your easiest and cheapest way of taking care of your nitrates.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, Ron. So I had this weird visualization. I was thinking, okay, so because we're talking about nitrates, don't freak out, right? Like if it goes out, it's kind of like smog. Okay, smog is not good for humans to inhale, right? And we do all the time, the exhaust from our cars and different things like that, the air quality. But over time, it does affect organs and functions anyway. I wanted to throw that out there. Hey, we're going to jump right in here right now. What do you say?
Let's give away some stuff soon.
All right, so normally we do the spin to win wheel, but check this out. We did hit 50 today. We're still over that mark right now. And so I had asked everybody to put the hashtag spin to win, and I'm going to pull up our picker. All right. So here we go. Here's our picker. I don't know what's going on with that song. I can't get it to go off. There it goes. Holy cow. Whatever. All right, so here we go. Here's I'm going to refresh these posts. You still have one more chance probably to
watch you win the fish.
I would love to. If I do, I'm going to donate it to someone right away. Like immediately pick someone else. How's that for donating? All right, so here we go. Episode number 50. I'm going to click this button over here. It says pick winner. Normally I clear this out, so if someone's name pops up right here. Oh, wait, you got to do this first. Someone's name pops up down here. You didn't win. Sorry. It's just to make sure everything's working and it's picking people. And it does. So we'll just unpick that person. Now I go in here where the hashtags are, and it's spin to win, which is SPINTOWIN, just so you know for the next time. And here is the person who won a large fish. Congratulations, Diane Blevins-Shearer. So Diane, you need to be on there right now. You need to. We're going to give you probably about 1 minute, 60 seconds to tell us if you are here. If you're not, we'll just draw someone else. All right, so let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we are going to answer some questions. Here's the calling graphic, everybody. This is the you can call into the show. You can so use these phone numbers and all that good stuff. Near and dear to our heart are several
choice.
Ocean cleanup
right now,
groups. This
today,
is one of them.
You can remain indifferent, or you can choose to act boldly, wisely, succinctly. What will you?
So Ron's always talking about how much he loves his customers, and so we want to play a testimonial. We're going to play an older testimonial that we've had. It's super awesome. Appreciate them. We are looking for some new testimonials. Part of winning this fish tonight, we would love, like, hey, let's turn the video on and say, Ron, I appreciate you. Thanks for the free fish. All right, so here we go.
Hey, what's up? I'm Catlin Douglas. I'm from Rochester, Illinois. Try Ron Cichlids, you guys. His fish are awesome. They're big, beautiful, vibrant. I got a couple of them in here. Also, his food. His food is unreal. They devour it. They splash me for it. That's the only bad thing I can say about the food is I get wet every time I feed them almost. But 5 stars all around. Get a hold of Ron, roncichlids.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catlin. Talked a little bit earlier about Facebook groups. So Ron does have some official Facebook groups, including the Mbuna Hangout, as well as the Ron Cichlids Aqua DIY, do-it-yourself enthusiasts. There's the Lake Tanganyika Cichlid Clubhouse, the Amazing Tank Showcase, which is just tanks. And, of course, the main group is Ron Demers Cichlid Clubhouse. Come and join us. Come check it out. Super awesome. Let's bring Ron back, and let's answer some questions. All right, Ron. So we went through that. Did we hear from the lady?
I have not seen her.
Mindy saying as of now hasn't heard. So let's I wish I had a countdown. I have a drum roll, but I don't have a countdown. Diane, what was her last name, please?
Sure.
Diane Shearer, if you are here listening, what we need you to do in the chat is to say I'm here, because you have to be on in order to win. So I still have a no. If I had a countdown, I could. Oh, I do have a countdown right here. So I'm going to give you exactly 10 more seconds. Ding, ding, doo, 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 doo. Yeah, those fish are looking super awesome. Their behavior is what is like amazing.
I love them. They're my favorites.
Awesome. All right, sorry, Diane. We wanted to give you free fish off of Ron Cichlids shop. Your choice, any large fish, but I am going to unpick you now and pick someone else. So let me go back here. Here's our software. She did do it. I'm going to unpick Diane. Sorry, Diane. I really wish we could have done that. And then spin to win and pick winner. Congratulations, Mr. Robert Reed from Satsuma, Alabama. Yeah, right on, Robert, and his 2 daughters. We just love you guys and everything. So congratulations on that. Robert, you have to be here. Giving you 30 seconds to let us know that you're online. So I guess a minute. We gave other people a minute. All right, so moving on with all of that. Let me see what I've got here going. Let's do this one.
I'm running out of time. Every day goes by so
all right, so here's another giveaway. This is going to be to spin to win. And you guys know what? I sent out a video to all the chatbot users earlier. So let's go ahead and pull the woo picker up. All right, so we're back. So this one's slightly different. This is also a hashtag, but it's a star. It's hashtag 50.
Robert's here.
Okay, congratulations, Robert. Stoked for you. I think Matt won recently, didn't he? Like in the last 4 weeks, this month. Did he win? Did Matt recently win? Because he just won it right here.
Yes. He won that underwater light.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry, Matt. We're unpicking you there. This is the chat bot again. I do like the way you.
You can meet me on the side of the of I-95 on Thursday. I'll give you a hug. That's your prize.
Alan Workman, Mr. Alan Workman. Congratulations. Thank you for being a chatbot user. Need to hear from you, bro. We also have another one. We have old business we got to take care of, bro. So remember last week? So let's figure this out because I'm sure someone. So let me go here. That's my new fish right there. He's a 50-foot whale. This is cool. I like to hang out with him. He's really cool. All right, so we got to go back to our last episode. Was it the 1 year one? Yeah. Here we go, and there's the comment. So let me pick winner on that one.
All right, Alan's here.
Oh, congratulations, Alan. You're going to spin to win. Bro, you're spinning to winning. All right, so this one's slightly different here that I'm doing. This is for last week. So if you remember, we pre-recorded and we asked you to do something, but I cannot remember what it was. So I'm going to pick winner. Obviously, I have to do this with each post, so the first person that pops up is not really there. But now I can see what the hashtag is. Help me remember. 1 year in, Fish Talk Live.
I don't remember.
I think it's Fish Talk Live. See how it says Fish Talk and then someone put Fish Talk Live? Yeah, it's Fish Talk Live. This is how I'm picking it. Hey, I will personally take care of this issue if I'm wrong. All right, so for last week, here it is. What was it, a pound of food or a half a pound of food or something? How about this guy? Did this guy win recently? Catlin Douglas?
Nope.
All right. All right. Congratulations, Catlin. That was for episode number 49. Appreciate you. That's a food prize, and Ron will take care of you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're good. I think we're good. So, Alan, right? Workman, congratulations. You are going to spin. Robert, you won a large fish, and here we go. So, we go spin to win. You got to help me out here with your stuff.
Let's go with purple.
Purple, okay.
11 o'clock. Bring it down over to 9 o'clock.
Okay, so purple. I don't have the window right. It's driving me nuts. Oh, it ain't right. You know how I am. You know how I am. All right, so purple at 9 o'clock. So purple is at 10 o'clock there. And bring it
like
to
the 11 o'clock purple. Bring it around to 9 o'clock.
Okay, gotcha. The light purple there. Right here, like this.
Yep.
That look good?
And let it ride.
All right, Alan, you're already a winner, bro. And so we're hoping you'll do us a testimonial video, that kind of stuff. And here you go. Congratulations, you're a winner. Let's see what you won. How about a drum roll? Ooh, that was interesting.
Gallon of K1 Media.
Yeah. So, for those of you, this is kind of from before, but it's still on the wheel, and it's still an awesome prize. So K1 is those small, like kind of like bio balls, but they have way more surface, and they're really, really good.
Like someone took a plastic hair curler and chopped it up into little wedges.
Yeah, little teeny wedges. Anyway, so congratulations on the K1 on that.
Congrats all of you guys. Congrats, Robert. Congrats, Alan, and congratulations, Catlin.
Absolutely. I was trying to bring us back. So as you guys can see, before the first 50 episodes, right here on this side was my little monitor, which has my open web pages for the different software that I use. And then the big one was over here, but now the big one's over here. So I'm a little discombobulated. Hey, check this out. Tell them all about this, bro.
Well, for you guys that don't know, I have a house in South Carolina, and I'm back and forth a lot this time of the year. And if you live anywhere along I-95 or the Turnpike, from Palm Beach, Florida to about exit 40 in South Carolina, I can meet you and deliver your fish for free. So I have a few stops in Jacksonville on my way up. I usually stop in Cocoa Beach and see my boy Matt. I stop in Brunswick and see my boy TJ. St. Augustine, the whole way, wherever you are. If you're near I-95, you can order fish and not pay shipping, and I'll hand deliver, meet you, and we'll shoot the breeze for a few minutes, and then I get back on the road.
Yeah. So we didn't answer any questions. So let's go back to that. I don't know what I was thinking or what I was doing, but there are some questions. So let's just dive into a few of these. Let's keep them simple. We're still way ahead of time. We're like 20 minutes ahead of what our normal pace is. But I can't. Something's really loud here. Hold on a second. Okay, so sorry. Normally we all wear headphones, but this particular person's not wearing headphones, but it's all good. So what we're trying to do here is answer some questions. And can you hear that, Ron? Or is it just me? Okay, then it's just me. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with a few of these. First and foremost was Mr. Robert Cox. He wants to know where you can find some of the rare Mbuna. I'm going to answer this one. Give good old Ron Demers a call. Tell him what you're looking for. That's your first bet. And then if he can't do it, he'll give you a recommendation. Jason Wagner says, is it normal for Ron's food to sink quickly and then fish pick it off the bottom?
Yeah, my food is designed to sink. Floating food for Africans is not preferred. They gulp air, and it can cause issues. Sinking food means a lot less binders, a lot less fillers. Sinking food is much better for African cichlids. So if it's making it to the bottom, slow down your feeding. Once they get used to it, it won't make it to the bottom anymore. And even if it does make it to the bottom, African cichlids are sifters. They sift through the sand. That's the way nature has created most of them. So the food is still going to be eaten.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that question, Mr. Jason Wagner. Robert Cox says he's curious how soon until I get another tank. Dave, so this is for me. What will you be stocking in it? I don't plan on getting another tank anytime soon. But when I do, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to answer that at some other points.
You kept a little bit of everything. You know, you had South Americans, Central Americans, you had Africans from all the lakes. So
yeah. Well, here's the thing.
You had a planted tank.
Yeah, here's the truth: is I totally dig Mbuna. I love the personality of Mbuna and all that. I love looking at peacocks and haps, but I really dig plants and other fish. So I'd probably be South American with a bunch of plants. Like some of those ones, those ulus and, all those cool ones we saw in that video that one time.
Nice.
So Marie Evans, she wants to know water change every couple of months. Question. Oh, my God. Then they're not a good parent. Okay, so that's a comment. Sorry. Kevin Phoenix said, what about a drip system for your tank? Will that help with nitrates, Ron?
Drip system for what? For doing water changes? Or dripping a chemical. I don't know what he means by that.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, there's that. And then Marie Evans also wanted to know, she says that she's been told the norm for cleaning filter is about 3-month mark. Is that sufficient? Depends on the filter.
Depends on your bio load, your waste load. Only you can say that. If you're getting into it once every 3 months and it's stand up disgusting, then knock it back a couple weeks or a month until you get it under control.
So what I end up doing, because we used my case earlier about the high nitrates, was I had 2 filters on the big tanks, and I cleaned 1 filter every month because I wanted to keep the nitrates down. And again, like they would collect the shit would collect on the bottom and stuff. So that looks like about it. Thank you, everybody. Super stoked that it's number 50. Great topic today. It seems like a really great show tonight. There. So, what you got? What you got for us, Ron?
That's all the knowledge I can drop today. I know we've talked about nitrates before, but I figured we'd just dedicate a quick and dirty show basically just for nitrate. It's something that people do get overly concerned with, and that's okay. But with the right knowledge, you don't have to stress yourself out about it. You can check your water levels. You can see that you have higher nitrates than normal. You can just do a water change. You can test it again, and then you can go back to being happy. Life is stressful. Facebook is stressful. Everything is stressful. The last thing you need is one more thing in your life to cause stress. So, as always, even if you don't know the answer, feel free to reach out on the page. Lots of great people will help answer your questions whenever needed.
Yeah. So absolutely. Appreciate everybody. We will see you next week. Like I said, I talked to Fred Ashbergen about his food battle
Test.
or what's going on, and he said he would like to be on the show. So we'll see if he shows up. But his invitation is certainly there. So we hope to have Fred on next week. Not sure exact topic yet, but we'll have something great for you like we always do. All right, everybody. See you next week.
Have a great night, guys. Love y'all.
And the secret show. So I do have a cool video. Really cool video. Probably one of the best videos ever.
Stay tuned.